Lumber River State Park is 14,000 acres of wilderness in Robeson County. On the afternoon of April 27, 2024, a fisherman named Johnny Jacobs was on that water. He heard a faint cry. It went on for a couple of minutes. Then he heard a gunshot. Then the park was quiet again. At around 2:54 that afternoon,
just made contact with a deputy. I didn't get his name. I think I just found a body in the water down there.
Okay, hold on one second for me, okay?
I heard a cry back when I came in, where I told you I started hearing the crying at. Then I heard a gunshot. It was probably about 2 minutes or so after I started hearing the cry. It might have been a little bit longer than that. And I heard a gunshot. It wasn't a loud gunshot, and then the crying just stopped. Right about here, that's when I heard the gunshot. The gunshot went off.
From which side? Over here on the left?
To the left. That's where I heard the gunshot.
In there?
Uh-huh. That's when the crying stopped. That looks totally different from when I came in here. Her driver's license, her bank card, she had her keys, $500, a little over $500. Every bit of that money got back.
It was not a wallet? It was a wallet?
It was what they call, I guess, ladies call them fanny packs.
a woman had called Robeson County 911. She asked whether her phone could be located. She told the dispatcher she was going to kill herself. And she said she wanted her family to be able to find her body. The dispatcher who took that call later said she had been crying for several minutes. Then she hung up, before anything more could be gathered from her.
You don't know where you're at?
A national park.
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
843-655-5242.
Where's the park located at?
In Bear Bluff. I have my location on, I think, on my phone. Find my phone is on. Just did my my location.
Okay, I'm showing, I don't think you are in Robeson County. Are you at the Lumber River State Park?
Yeah, that's where I am.
Tell me what's happened.
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute.
Her name was Mica Francis Miller. She was 30 years old. 2 days earlier, on April 25th, her husband had been served with her divorce papers. He was a pastor. She had led worship in his church. She had told her sister, and she had said it on many occasions, that if she ended up with a bullet in her head, it was not by her. She named the person she believed would be responsible. Her husband told federal investigators he had not damaged her tires. The federal indictment alleges he purchased a tire deflation device online. What she said before she died, and what he said afterward, do not match. Over the next half hour I am going to put both in front of you, drawn from the federal indictment, from sworn affidavits filed in Horry County Probate Court, from police reports, and from her own words on video. And I am going to be precise about which is which.
If you believe that a woman who told people she was afraid deserves to have that recorded accurately, not sensationalized, not guessed at, take 1 second and subscribe. Now for this channel. For her. Every subscriber makes it more likely that the next person searching Mica Miller's name finds the record instead of the rumor. Now, the facts.
I want to establish something at the top, because everything else depends on it. The medical examiner ruled Mica Miller's death a suicide, by a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Toxicology found no drugs and no alcohol in her system. Nobody has been charged with causing Mica Miller's death. There is no homicide case. There is no murder charge. Anyone telling you otherwise is telling you something the record does not support. What exists instead is a federal case about the 17 months that came before. And that distinction is the entire reason this story matters, Because what prosecutors say happened in those 17 months was, in South Carolina, largely not illegal. Hold on to that. We come back to it.
Before she was a case number, she was a person. And an unusually specific one. Mica Acacia Francis was born on March 7, 1994, in Wichita, Kansas, a daughter of Michael Francis and Angelita Ramirez. She was one of 6. She had a brother, Nate, and 4 sisters, Anna, Sierra, Abigail, and Destiny. That family is going to matter enormously later in this story, because they are the reason you know her name at all. She was the kind of person who collected experiences the way other people collect possessions. She went waterfall rappelling. She went skydiving. She hiked, she ran, she spent as much time at the beach as she could. She went vegan for an entire year, not because anyone asked her to, but because she wanted to see whether she could do it. Her own obituary describes her as energetic, adventurous, bold, determined, or risk-taker. She had a little dog called Loki, and she loved him. And she sang. That is the thing everyone mentions first. At Solid Rock at Market Common, in Myrtle Beach, she was the worship leader. She led youth worship sessions. She ran the women's ministry. Friends described her as a vital part of that church, not a pastor's wife who sat in the front row, but someone doing the work every week. Her faith was not decorative. Her favorite verse was Micah 6, verse 8. He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Act justly. Love mercy. That was the verse she chose for herself. And she built something out of it. Mica founded a charity called Waymakers, which raised funds for Christian relief efforts. She was an aspiring missionary. According to her sister's sworn affidavit, in the weeks before her death she was hopeful about her future, and she had plans. Specific ones. She intended to move to Kenya and do missionary work. That is the detail I want you to hold. 2 days before she died, a woman who had just filed for divorce was making plans to move to Kenya. She met John Paul Miller in 2009. They were friends for 8 years before they married. She was 23 when she married him. He was significantly older. Now, her family have been consistent and public on one point, and it is contested, so I am going to attribute it carefully. Her family say Mica had no history of mental health problems before she married John Paul Miller. Her husband, after her death, told the Christian Post she had been diagnosed with bipolar II, schizophrenia, and dependent personality disorder.
So, y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her. And so I'm sure there'll be more details to come, but just keep our family in your prayers. And I'm going to let Pastor Randall, my bishop, he can pray. I'll give him a microphone, he'll pray out. And if you have anything you want to share as well, I appreciate it.
Those two accounts cannot both be complete. I am not in a position to resolve them, and neither is anyone on the internet. What I can tell you is what each side has said, and that her family dispute his characterization entirely. Here is where it stops being someone else's description of her, and becomes her own voice. Between March 18th and March 28th, 2024, the final full month of her life, Mica posted 5 videos to her Facebook page. Together they run just over 9 minutes. They drew more than 5,000 positive reactions. They are not what you would expect. They are messages of affirmation. She is telling other people to be strong. On March 18th she said, "Hey everybody. I just want to let you know that I'm alive and well, and life's been kind of crazy the past weeks, months, years, but I've had to keep my circle really small for the past couple of weeks because I'm going through a lot, and it's hard, and it's my cross to bear. And then, I want to reach out to everybody to tell you how much I love you and I miss you, but this is the best way I know how. Read that again. Weeks, months, years. Not weeks. Years. 4 days later, on March 22nd, she posted a video that was addressed to anyone in an abusive relationship.
So today my heart's a little heavy. I've had a lot of women that have reached out to me about situations of abuse. And I just want to tell you what a lot of people have told me lately and reminded me, because I think I forgot. I knew, but I pushed it in the back of my head just because of my situation. But you are the bride of Christ. Before anybody else's bride, male or female, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Abuse is abuse. And you are the bride of Christ. And my Bible says that he took all the abuse you could think of for you so that you didn't have to live that life of slavery and bondage and pain. Jesus took it all for you. So you don't have to stay in a abusive relationship, whether that's sexual, whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs, or alcohol abuse, or physical abuse, psychological abuse, making you think that this is all your fault, or you're a bad mom, or you're a bad wife, or you're a bad husband, or you're not giving it your all when you know you are. God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that? So, I want to remind you, like a bunch of people have been reminding me lately, that I'm God's bride first. And even an earthly spouse, who's a good spouse, when they know that their bride is being hurt, just imagine what an earthly spouse does. What do you think your heavenly spouse does? When you're the bride of Christ and he sees his bride going through abuse and hurt, what do you think he thinks about that? So, encouragement in all this is, you are the bride of Christ first, before anybody else's. And he's got you. And he sees you. And he loves you.
She asked a question that only makes sense coming from inside a church. God hates divorce. But why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that? That is a woman working out, in public, on camera, whether her faith would permit her to leave.
I just want to tell you what a lot of people have told me lately and reminded me, because I think I forgot. I knew, but I pushed it in the back of my head just because of my situation. But you are the bride of Christ. Before anybody else's bride. God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that? That I'm God's bride first. And even an earthly spouse, who's a good spouse, when they know that their bride is being hurt, just imagine what an earthly spouse does. What do you think your heavenly spouse does? When you're the bride of Christ and he sees his bride going through abuse and hurt, what do you think he thinks about that?
She was 5 weeks from death when she recorded it. And here is what the timeline puts either side of those videos. More than a week before that March 22nd post, she had already told a police officer that she was afraid for her life. On March 11th, at around 1:30 in the morning at Springmaid Pier, her tires were slashed. She reported it. 10 hours later she called police again, a man she had been avoiding had approached her at a gas station and was calling and texting her despite being blocked. She told officers she feared for her life. She had tried to obtain a restraining order. A mechanic found a GPS tracker on her car. So while she was on Facebook telling 5,000 people to keep praying and to stay strong, she was also filing police reports about being followed. That is who Mica Miller was. A woman who went skydiving, who kept a charity running, who was learning scripture well enough to argue with it, who was planning Kenya, and who was, at the same time, checking her car for tracking devices.
Here is what prosecutors say was happening underneath all of that. On December 17, 2025, a federal grand jury returned a 2-count indictment against John Paul Miller, then 46. Count 1 is cyberstalking. Prosecutors allege it began on or about November 16, 2022, and continued until April 27, 2024, the day she died.
God allowed a catfish to be put in your tank today. I got a shark, great white shark in my tank.
Just and upright people don't attack other people publicly. It's not, they're not honorable people. If they're doing it publicly, if they're on Facebook, if whatever it is, you have to recognize that there's something wrong with that. There's something in their heart that's not right. And they're not going to be honored by God for doing that.
I just pray for myself today, Lord, and I just pray that you heal my heart. I don't want to live with the anger.
17 months. Count 2 is making false statements to federal investigators. These are the specific allegations. That he sent repeated unwanted and harassing communications, including contacting her more than 50 times in a single day. That he posted a nude photograph of her online, without her consent. That he placed, or caused to be placed, tracking devices on vehicles she used. That he interfered with her finances and her daily activities. That he damaged the tires on her vehicle, and that he purchased a tire deflation device online and sent messages about it, while telling federal investigators he had not damaged her tires. And this one, which I think is the most revealing item in the document. That he hired a private investigator to follow her. Prosecutors allege he claimed the purpose was to stop her buying a firearm, that he was protecting her. Prosecutors allege the actual purpose was to monitor her because he suspected she was having an affair. Every one of those is an allegation. A grand jury found there was enough to bring charges. A trial jury has found nothing, because there has not been a trial. J.P. Miller has pleaded not guilty to both counts. Step back from the list and look at the shape. Not one violent act. A pattern. Calls. Tracking. Exposure. Financial interference. Surveillance. And here is what should stop you. Calling someone 50 times in a day is not, by itself, a crime. Hiring a private investigator is not a crime. Knowing where someone's car is at all times is, in most places, not a crime. Interfering with a spouse's finances is not usually a crime. Each piece, alone, is legal or close to it. The harm is the accumulation. And South Carolina law had no mechanism for seeing an accumulation. That gap is why the only charges here are federal, and why they are about communications and a false statement rather than about what those 17 months did to a person. Mica did not stay quietly. The court record shows her trying to get out, repeatedly. In October 2023, she filed for divorce. That case was dismissed on February 13, 2024. Later that February, John Paul Miller filed for separate maintenance and support. That was dismissed too. And in that same month, something happened that her family describe as the turning point. Mica was involuntarily hospitalized for 48 hours, admitted to the Waccamaw Center for Mental Health. According to her sister Anna, this happened when Mica attempted to leave, and John Paul told counselors and police that she was going to kill herself. While she was in that hospital, according to Sierra Francis's sworn affidavit, her personal possessions were removed from the home she shared with him. Sierra states that Mica did not know until she was discharged. When she came out, staff told her that John Paul had picked up her purse and her car keys while she was admitted. She went back to the Walmart neighborhood market parking lot where she had left her car. It was gone. Mica later reported to police that she believed the involuntary commitment had been fraudulently initiated. According to her sister, that was the moment everything changed. After that hospitalization, Mica started documenting. She began gathering evidence, affidavits, records, correspondence. Sierra's affidavit puts it plainly. Before her admission to Waccamaw, Mica was collecting and sorting evidence to bring to an attorney, to support her claims about her husband's conduct. She was building a file. Then in April 2024, she filed again, around 12 days before her death. John Paul Miller was served on April 25. 2 days later, she was dead. People always ask why she went back. The honest answer is that leaving is not one decision. It is a long series of them, made under conditions designed to make deciding difficult, and in her case, one of those attempts ended with her in a psychiatric facility and her car missing from the car park. The research on this is not ambiguous. The period during which a woman attempts to leave an abusive partner is the most dangerous period of her life. The risk does not fall when she leaves. It spikes. Mica left. 48 hours later, she was gone.
This next piece is not rumor and it is not a family interview. It is sworn court documents. On May 2nd, 2024, less than a week after Mica died, and 4 days before the medical examiner announced the cause of death, her siblings filed affidavits in Horry County Probate Court. Sierra Francis was applying to be appointed special administrator of her sister's estate. In her affidavit, Sierra stated, "Mica stated to me on many occasions, if I end up with a bullet in my head, it was not by me, it was JP. On many occasions. Not once, in a moment of fear. Repeatedly, over time, to more than one person." Sierra also stated, "I know my sister to have expressed the abuse and violence against her by her husband to others, including family members and members of the church congregation."
People, if there's ever a bullet in my head, it was John Paul, it wasn't me. She said those exact words to about 10 to 15 people. And they all were messaging us. When everything happened, when the world found out, all these people are messaging us. We don't even know who they are. They're not even connected in any way. They might have known Mica in different period times of her life.
The congregation. She was telling people of the church. Sierra's affidavit also said her sister was afraid she would be killed before the divorce was finalized. Her brother, Nathaniel Francis, filed a separate affidavit stating that John Paul Miller was stalking her. He also stated that Mica had forwarded him an email from her husband in which he apologized for the tires and for damaging her vehicle. The court filing described the circumstances of her death as suspicious. It also noted that before she died, Mica had sought a restraining order against her husband, and that it is believed it was never served. I want to be careful about what these are. They are sworn statements by family members about what Mica said while she was alive, and about what they observed. They are not findings of fact about how she died. The medical examiner's ruling stands. But they are on the record, under oath, filed within days, before there was a movement, before there was a Netflix series, before there was anything to gain.
Here is his account against the record. He told investigators he did not damage her tires. The indictment alleges he purchased a tire deflation device online and sent messages relating to it. Her brother says she forwarded him an email in which her husband apologized for the tires. He said the private investigator was there to stop her buying a gun. Prosecutors alleged the investigator was there because he suspected an affair. He told his congregation she had struggled with mental illness. Her family say she had no such history before the marriage. That second count, making false statements to a federal investigator, is not a technicality, and prosecutors do not charge it lightly. It is a charge about what someone knew and chose to say anyway. To prove it, the government has to show he knew the truth and said something else on purpose. That is what a jury will weigh.
And we're going to have a find up, and I'm going to make an announcement. And after the announcement, I'm going to ask that you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement here in the building, please, if you can, so y'all can stand to your feet. Before I make the announcement, I also want to say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give for the next little bit, because I don't want to have, I'm taking a little bit of a break, and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks, I don't know. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina. And we're going to have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now.
A week later, he delivered a eulogy. He said he had visited her body at the morgue at least 4 times. He said that each time, it still had not hit him. He said he had tried to raise her from the dead. He spoke about her integrity, about their travels, about how she would talk for hours and hours even when he tuned out. Then, separately, he told a local news outlet, Mica loved her family. She did not trust them as far as you could spit. In June 2024, he began posting videos to TikTok, saying he had 350 pieces of proof, that people would be shocked by what Mica had said, and that they were going to find out who was actually responsible for his wife's death. He was later released from his ministerial duties by the church.
He was arraigned on January 12, 2026. He pleaded not guilty. He was released on a $100,000 bond with conditions including an ankle monitor. The cyberstalking count carries a statutory maximum of 5 years. The false statements count carries a maximum of 2, plus fines up to $250,000. 7 years at the absolute outside, if convicted on both and sentenced consecutively, which is not typically how federal sentencing works. Meanwhile, in Myrtle Beach, the church did not survive. Protesters gathered outside Solid Rock every Sunday. The congregation collapsed. In February 2025, the property was sold for somewhere around $2.1 million. It has since been resold. In November 2024, the FBI executed a search warrant at John Paul Miller's home. There is also a wider set of civil filings around this case, and I am going to handle them carefully. Lawsuits were filed alleging historical misconduct. There was a countersuit for defamation against protesters. Filings were made, and filings were dismissed or resolved. Dismissed or settled means a court did not rule on whether the events described happened. It is not a finding that they did. It is not a finding that they didn't. I am telling you these filings exist because they are public record. I am not telling you what is in them is true, and no court has said so either.
Now the part of this story that outlives the criminal case. Her family went to the South Carolina legislature. Their attorney, Regina Ward, had already been pushing for a bill criminalizing coercive control, the pattern of behavior that isolates, monitors, tracks, and dominates a partner without ever necessarily leaving a mark. It had stalled years earlier. In June 2024, her family's legal team held a press conference and released a document to the Senate Judiciary Committee, a list of alleged incidents, and a request that the coercive control bill be renamed in her honor. It became known as Mica's Law. Remember what I said earlier?
Just first-hand witnessing. It's not just Mica witnessing this behavior and these allegations against him. It's not just Mica saying it. Our family's witnessed it for years. There's going to be a name. They're petitioning for a law to be named after her for anyone going through anything similar to what she's going through, to be able to have a law backing why this should never happen again. Any kind of signs of all of this duress, the police should be accountable for just brushing her off.
Now let's go back 2.5 years ago. December the 7th, 2021, Senator Katrina Fry Shelley, she introduced into the Senate the Coercive Control Bill.
50 calls is not a crime. A tracker is not a crime. A private investigator is not a crime. Interfering with someone's money is not a crime. The law could see individual acts and could not see a pattern. Coercive control legislation exists to close exactly that gap. The bill was introduced. It was heard in committee. It was debated. And it did not pass before the session ended. Her sister told lawmakers publicly that the delay was unforgivable. Sponsors have said they intend to reintroduce it. As of the most recent reporting, it remains unpassed. So this is where it stands. A woman died. Her family spent 2 years trying to make the thing she described illegal. It still isn't. What her sisters did instead was keep her charity running. They held a benefit concert, because Mica had wanted one. They ran the miles for Mica 5K in Market Common, because Mica had wanted that too. Her sister Anna, who now runs Waymakers, said she tries to run it exactly the way Mica would have. Her sister Abigail put it simply, everything they're doing is what Mica wanted to do.
As of the recording of this video, John Paul Miller is awaiting trial. He has pleaded not guilty to both counts and is presumed innocent. A pretrial conference had been set for August 25, 2026. That conference was canceled. The trial has been continued to the October 2026 term of court, following a defense motion with the government's consent. There have been multiple continuances, driven by the volume of discovery. And this month, Mica Miller's name reaches an audience it never has before. A 3-part Netflix series called Death of the Pastor's Wife is scheduled for release on August 26, 2026. Millions of people are about to meet this story. Many will come away certain about things the record does not establish. I would rather you came away the way you should come away from any pending case, with a clear picture of what is alleged, and a clear understanding that a jury has not ruled on any of it.
Mica Francis Miller was 30 years old. She was born in Wichita. She had 4 sisters and a brother. She went skydiving. She kept a dog called Loki. She chose Micah 6 verse 8 for herself, act justly, love mercy, walk humbly, and she built a charity out of it. She was going to Kenya. She filed. He was served on the 25th. On the 27th she drove an hour northwest into North Carolina, and she called 911, and she asked whether they could find her phone, because she wanted her family to be the ones who found her. That is the detail I cannot put down. At the very end, she was still thinking about the people who would have to look for her. 5 weeks before that, She sat in front of a camera and asked her congregation a question. God hates divorce, but why? Because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that? She never got an answer from anyone who could have helped her. The indictment does not charge him with her death. It charges what came before. Her family believe one led to the other. A jury will decide the first question, and may never be asked the second. Mica's law still has not passed. So here is what I want you to answer in the comments. 50 calls in a day is not a crime. A tracking device is not a crime. A private investigator is not a crime. Every piece is legal on its own, and together they describe exactly what she told her sister she was afraid of, on many occasions, for 17 months before it ended. How should the law recognize a pattern when no single part of it is illegal? Tell me below. Read what other people say. That is the conversation her family have been trying to start for 2 years. May Mica Miller rest in peace.
Give me life, take me for what I am.
Bless those who curse you, pray for your enemies, things like that. And so I just wanted to sing this really quick and see if it encourages you. I hope it does. But it says, I pray for your healing. The circumstances would change. I pray that the fear inside would flee. In Jesus' name. I pray that a breakthrough would happen today. I pray miracles over your life. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. So, pray for those who curse you. Bless those who curse you. Speak well of those who are not speaking well over you. Because God sees all, God hears all, He knows all. And if you keep your heart right and His will be done, not yours, it's all going to work out. So I hope it encourages you today.